Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, feel free to bully the new kids. Did you know that every year in the UK we throw away around 7 million tonnes of food? And just for a size reference, it's about half the size of your mum. 2020. Still making your mum jokes. You love to see it. Almost 2 million of that 7 million tonnes is directly wasted by the food industry. Now, just for clarity, this is perfectly good food. This is food that either was produced but went out of date before it was eaten, or it was a carrot that was just like a little bit wonky, and for some reason you decided to subject it to your weird vegetable beauty standards. And you decided that just because it was a little bit bent, for some reason it wasn't going to be as delicious as a straight one. And if the LGBT community has taught me anything, is that bent is good. This year, I'm trying to be more conscious and aware of my impacts on the environment. You may already know that if you've seen my becoming a minimal... Good one. My becoming a minimal... Oh, words are difficult, man. You may already know this if you've seen my becoming a minimalist video, where I basically gave away a bunch of my clothes to subscribers and other people in need in an attempt to stop the clothes that I no longer wear ending up in a landfill. If you want to watch that video, I'll leave it in a card somewhere here. I've been doing YouTube for 2 years. Still not fucking clear what side the card goes on. It'll be up there now, just give it a click if you fancy. Now I know that no one person has the power to, pretty much stop the progress of climate change. Jeff Bezos. But like they say in Tesco's, every little helps. So I've been thinking about how I can help lower this food waste. In terms of our everyday shopping, me and Jean are really good. I think the only food product that we've thrown away in the 6 months that we've lived here is 3 moldy tortillas. That's literally it. But I'm sure all of you can relate when I say that every now and then you just fancy a takeaway, or you want to go out and you want to just eat, you just don't want to cook, because food always tastes better when you didn't make it. But food tasting great because you didn't have to cook it is often offset for me by the price of having someone else cook the food. But this is where an app called Too Good To Go comes in. Too Good To Go is an app that was released in 2016. It's an app that gives restaurants and supermarkets the opportunity to sell food that's about to go out of date as opposed to just throwing it away. But the bonus is for you is that because the food is going out of date super soon, it's incredibly cheap. So you can pick up a meal for 2 at Bar Burrito for £5.30 instead of £12. In 2019, just 3 years after the app launched, they announced that they'd saved 10 million meals from going to the landfill. That is insane. So how does it work? Now, I don't know if you've ever been into a supermarket like 30 minutes before they close, and it can be any supermarket. Morrison's, Tesco's, Waitrose for the Tories amongst us. And you walk in and there's a trolley right at the front of the store, and they'll have a whole array of baked goods and food and vegetables that are all going out of date by the end of that day, and they are covered in discount stickers. I used to do it with Asda. I used to walk in about 10 minutes before they close, and you could get a whole stack of chocolate chip pancakes. 5p. Kid you not, 5p. So the app essentially builds off of this idea, but with restaurants as well as supermarkets. So say, for example, you work in your sushi, and by the end of the night, you've got a bunch of salmon sushi left over that no one wanted. Instead of just having to throw it away, you can create a magic box, which is essentially a box filled with all the random stuff and sushi that you had left over at the end of the day, and you sell it for a set price on Too Good To Go. Now, the app gives you the opportunity to reserve a box. Now, you reserve the box, and there'll be a pickup time. Now, this pickup time depends on the kind of restaurant or supermarket or cafe that it is. Most of the time, it's between 9:45 and 10 p.m. But there are also places that do breakfast that'll offer you leftovers between 9:30 and 10. Similarly, the same for lunch. There are pickup times between 3 and half 3 p.m. So you don't actually get to choose what is in these mystery bags, which is probably the only downside of the site. But the mystery bag is always filled with quite a lot of food, and it's exceptionally cheap for what you get. So it kind of balances itself out. So I was wondering how I could promote this app and try and get more of you guys watching this video to use it. I decided that I would survive off restaurant leftovers for 24 hours. So the first thing I did was log into the app and find places that did breakfast mystery boxes. Now, breakfast is probably the hardest one to find cafes and restaurants for, mostly because a lot of them offer the same foods throughout the whole day. They don't just do a specific breakfast that they then would have leftovers for to pick up early. But luckily, I found a hotel near me called Novotel that does a breakfast buffet every morning. Now, this is a combination of, a hot English breakfast, pastries, cheeses, yogurts, all the usual things that a buffet has, but it gave you the opportunity to have a mystery box for this whole big breakfast buffet. Novotel usually charges £11 per person for this, but I managed to get the mystery box for £2.50. For lunch, I found this amazing place that was super highly reviewed. Around 95% of people who had mystery boxes from there had voted it 4 stars or higher. Just for clarity, it only goes up to 5 stars. So, that's pretty It's pretty good. So I reserved one of these boxes, but because I'm an idiot, I didn't look at the Google Maps on the app to see how far away this restaurant was from me. And it turns out it was an hour's walk there and back. And I don't know if you've been following the weather in the UK recently, but we're in the middle of Storm Dennis. So going outside for 2 hours just wasn't really on my list of things to do. But luckily, Too Good To Go can account for my own stupidity, and you can cancel a reservation for a mystery box up to 2 hours before the collection time. So it was super easy. I just cancelled it and then tried to find another place. I ended up seeing that Auntie Anne's was on there, and this is a pretzel shop that me and Jean go to a lot. They make really, really good pretzels. So I figured that after a big buffet breakfast, I might as well go for a slightly smaller kind of lunch. And for the amount of goods that I was supposedly getting in the goodie bag, it was usually worth £10, but I managed to get it for $3.56. Now, dinner. Dinner is also quite a hard one to find things for, just because for some restaurants you can reserve goodie bags like 24 hours before, and because I'm not the queen of planning ahead, I didn't do that. So a lot of the mystery boxes from places like Yo Sushi that are super popular were already gone by the time that I tried to book things. But luckily for me, Bar Burrito still had a goodie box left, so I swiped to have a Bar Burrito goodie box. Now this cost me £5.30 as opposed to the usual like £15 or something I think it was. I managed to book and reserve all of these goodie boxes in about 4 minutes. It was super simple. You can reserve them via Apple Pay, your credit card, or even PayPal, so there are lots of different payment options available. So the pickup time for my breakfast was 9:45 to 10 a.m, but they ended up changing it and moving it back an hour. I guess this is a downside potentially to the app, is that you don't necessarily get to choose when you want to eat. It's completely at the convenience of the restaurant when they have leftovers. So I didn't actually get my food until like 11 a.m, which kind of sucked, so I was quite hungry. I'm pretty hungry at this point, I won't lie to you. Heavy doors. It's not as cold as it was yesterday, which is quite nice to be honest. So I just got here and it seems like no one knows what the Too Good To Go thing is, so this is very awkward. So essentially what happened with my breakfast is when I arrived, she gave me a full English breakfast in like a little carrying pot. But the problem is I don't eat those because I pretty much am vegetarian. So I was just like, I wouldn't eat that. So she actually gave it to another person who was waiting on a mystery box, and then she just handed me an empty one and said, you know, go ham, if you'll excuse the pun. Because I definitely did not get ham. So I just filled it up with all sorts of baked goods and yogurts and things like that, which was really cool. I had so much food that like that breakfast could have been split between 2 people. It was insane. The pickup place for Auntie Anne's was actually between 3 and 3:30, and I got there pretty early because I wanted to be able to get, you know, the good stuff. And this was like a good time for lunch for me, considering just how huge the breakfast was. You know, I really can't believe this is the second time I'm going outside today. I'm getting fresh air, you know? We love to see it. I take it back, we don't love to see it, it's fucking cold. When I got there, she asked me if I wanted sweet or savoury pretzels, and in true bisexual fashion, I asked for a mixture of both. Right, we're back with pretzels. So inside this bag, I got a full sweet pretzel, I got a full pizza pretzel, and a full box of whatever these diabetes inducing things are. I don't know what I was expecting, but I definitely wasn't expecting that much food for how much I paid. One pretzel is like £3 something, so I wasn't expecting to get 2 pretzels and a whole box of like sweet pretzel bites for £3.56. So that was a really pleasant surprise. The lady behind the counter actually said that these taste better if you warm them up for about 15 seconds in the microwave. I'm only gonna have one because this is definitely more than I can eat for lunch, especially because I had a massive breakfast. I know the pizza pretzel is the obvious choice for lunch. I'm gonna have the sweet one because I'm an adult, and those are the decisions you get to make when you're an adult. Decisions that will impact your health later in life. Yay! This is really good. It's about 4:20 now, so this should tide me over until dinner, which I am going to pick up at 9:45, which is a little late, but we'll be fine because there's a lot of sugar to keep me going. I literally just gently touched it. Mental. The pickup time for dinner at Bar Burrito was 9:45 to 10 p.m. And like I said, we're in the middle of Storm Dennis. It's not nice going outside in the dark during a storm. But you know, I'll do anything for a discounted burrito. I swear to God, if we get there and this food is shite, I'm gonna kick off. I'm gonna feel full Karen. I'm gonna be asked to speak to every manager in the Liverpool region. So thank you. Successful. We picked it up, we came back and we actually had 2 whole burrito meals in the goodie bag for £5.30. So me and Jean heated it up, we put it in some burrito wraps that we bought ourselves, and we ended up with 4 pretty hearty burritos out of it. So I did some maths, which you guys should appreciate, because it's really just not my strong point, which you probably could have worked out from the fact that I'm a YouTuber. But overall, for the food that I consumed that day, it should have cost me around £40. But I only ended up spending around £11.56, which is almost a £30 saving. Now, not only that, but each of my breakfast, lunch, and dinner could have easily fed 2 people. In fact, it did feed 2 people, because Jean ate pretty much half of everything, which meant that it was less than £6 to feed 2 people eating out for an entire day. That is insane. So not only did we end up rescuing food from the landfill, but we ended up saving so much money for the amount of food we got. And it was all delicious. Everything was so nice. It didn't taste like stale food. It didn't taste like going off food. It just tasted like excellent food that I didn't have to make. Wonderful. I'm gonna leave a download link for Too Good To Go in the description, so please download it and give it a go. Here's my Instagram and here's my Twitter. Tweet me, you know, send me a picture of that juicy, juicy goodness. Feel free to follow me there, even if you don't download the app. It's an excellent opportunity to be able to see my face, but not have to hear my voice, which I've been told can be annoying. If you like this video, give it a cheeky little thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. It's a free world, you do you boo. And I'll see you next week with another video. Give your mum a kiss for me. Mwah.
I can't feel my face, no, faking on a Sunday.